The scream shattered the stillness of Crestwood Pines, a primal wail that stopped me cold as I hauled a trash bag to the curb. It wasn't the usual neighborhood bickering Simeon's hedge trimmed too late or a car parked askew. No, this was raw, unhinged. I turned and saw her, Evelyn Crane, the HOA's self-crowned tyrant, her face a mask of rage as she lunged at a paramedic struggling with a stretcher. The patient, an elderly man with trembling hands and an oxygen mask, wheezed faintly, his eyes half open in panic. Evelyn wasn't just shouting, she grabbed the EMT's jacket, yanking him so hard the stretcher teetered. A neighbor gasped. Another raised a phone, filming. My pulse spiked, reality warping in a place where chaos wasn't supposed to exist. I'm Lucas Bennett, a 3-year resident of Crestwood Pines. I moved here for the tidy lawns, the quiet streets, the promise of order. But order had a gatekeeper, Evelyn. From day one, she'd been a force, her clipboard a weapon, her rules a noose. A mailbox slightly off-center, a fine, grass a shade too wild, a citation. She patrolled with predatory precision, and most of us complied, too worn down to resist. I never thought her obsession would spiral in a violent clash with someone trying to save a life. The ambulance had come from Mr. Walter Hayes, a kind widower who lived 4 houses down. Walter loved his porch swing, always while VYing as I passed. That evening, he'd collapsed, chest tight, breath shallow. The paramedics arrived fast, their siren jarring our manicured bubble. They'd loaded Walter onto the stretcher, for lines dangling, his face ashen. But as they wheeled him toward the ambulance, Evelyn stormed out, her voice slicing the air. "You can't drive in here," she bellowed, blocking their path. "This is a gated communitino clearance. No entry." The lead EMT, a guy named Caleb Morse, maybe 30, with dark hair and a calm demeanor, tried to reason. "Ma'am, state law exempts emergency vehicles," he said, urgency creeping into his tone. Walter groaned, his fingers clutching the stretcher's edge. Caleb's partner, a woman named Mia, adjusted the oxygen flow, her movements brisk. They edged forward, but Evelyn wasn't VYing it. "This is trespassing," she snapped, pointing at the ambulance, its lights flashing against the community's iron gate. "I enforce the rules here." Caleb stepped around her, focused on Walter, but Evelyn grabbed his arm, pulling so fiercely he stumbled. The stretcher wobbled, Walter's tugging taut. I dropped my trash bag, instinct show VYing me forward. "Evelyn, stop!" I shouted, grabbing the stretcher to steady it. Walter's eyes met mine, wide with fear, his breaths ragged. A neighbor, Jenna, filmed, her hands shaking. Another called 911, voice trembling. Evelyn spun toward the growing crowd, unyielding. "This is my domain," she roared. "No one breaks my rules." It was chilling, like she believed her authority trumped a dying man's life. Caleb freed himself, his jaw tight. "Ma'am, he needs a hospital now." Mia added, sharp, "Back off, or you're risking his life." But Evelyn lunged again, show VYing Caleb's shoulder. The stretcher tilted, and I tightened my grip, heart pounding. "Enough!" I yelled, my voice cracking. Jenna's camera caught it all, Evelyn's fury, Walter's distress, the chaos unfolding in our pristine suburb. Police sirens cut through the tension, and 2 officers pulled up, lights strobing. Officer Rivera, broad-shouldered and calm, stepped out. "What's happening?" he asked, scanning the scene. Evelyn rushed him, gesturing wildly. "They violate our codes," she insisted. "No permission to enter." Rivera glanced at Caleb, who was securing Walter's straps, his face taut with controlled anger. "He's VYing a heart attack," Caleb said. "She's physically blocking us." Walter's breathing hitched, his hands trembling. Rivera's eyes narrowed. "Ma'am, step aside." Immediately. Evelyn hesitated, defiance flickering, but Rivera's tone was iron. "Now, or you're obstructing emergency care, VYCS." She stepped back, fists clenched, muttering about lawsuits. The paramedics loaded Walter into the ambulance, and with a wail, it sped off. I exhaled, legs shaky, but Evelyn stood firm, glaring at us. You'll regret this, she hissed. Jenna lowered her phone. It's all here, she said quietly. Every moment. Rivera stayed, taking statements. Evelyn ranted about HOA bylaws, but he cut her off. Did you touch the paramedic? He asked. She scoffed. He pushed into my space. The lie was thin. Jenna's Deo was already spreading. Rivera jotted notes, his face unreadable. We'll follow up, he told her, then turned to me. I recounted it all. Her grab. The stretcher's wobble, Walter's gasps. My hands shook, anger surging. How could someone prioritize rules over a life? Evelyn stormed off, her heels clicking like gunfire. The crowd dispersed, but whispers lingered. She's always been intense, one man said, but this is insane. Another, a longtime resident, shook his head. She thinks she owns us. I went home, Walter's terrified eyes haunting me. Crestwood Pines was supposed to be a haven, not a battleground. Evelyn had turned it into her kingdom, and tonight she'd gone too far. By morning, word came that Walter was stable after emergency surgery, but the delay had nearly killed him. The neighborhood erupted. Some defended Evelyn, calling her a perfectionist under pressure. Others, like me, saw a bully unmasked. Jenna's Deo hit the community forum, then local news. HOA leader attacks EMT. Crestwood Pines was suddenly notorious. Our idyllic facade cracked. A few days later, I was sweeping my driveway when a black sedan pulled up. A man in a suit stepped out of VYD Patel, attorney for Caleb Morse. My stomach knotted as I invited him in, pouring coffee to steady myself. The VYD was direct. Caleb's filing a lawsuit, he said. Evelyn's actions were assault, and they endangered Mr. Hayes. He asked for my account, noting every detail. Then he dropped the bomb. They were seeking $3 million damages for Caleb's sprained shoulder, emotional trauma, and a warning to others. I nodded, stunned. Justice sounded right, but Evelyn wouldn't go quietly. She'd fight, and it'd get ugly. The lawsuit went public, and Crestwood Pines split. The forum buzzsome hailed Caleb. Others called him opportunistic. Evelyn posted a rant, claiming she'd protected our sanctity, and Caleb had provoked her. Her loyalists rallied, but most saw through it. The HOA board, led by a shaken VYC president named Rachel, distanced themselves. Evelyn acted alone, they said, but her shadow loomed largest, been their enforcer for years. I checked on Walter, bringing soup. His son, Mark, answered, exhaustion in his eyes. Dad's recovering, he said, but the doctors said minutes mattered. She could have killed him. Walter sat inside, frail but alive, thanking me weakly. Never thought I'd fear my own neighbor, he murmured. Guilt hit me, we'd all let Evelyn's reign fester too long. Caleb, I learned, was struggling. His injury needed therapy, but the mental toll was worse. He trained to save lives, not dodge attacks. I saw him at a coffee shop, his arm braced. Didn't expect this in a place like Crestwood, he said, half smiling. But I can't let her skate. What if it's someone else next time? His resolve hardened mine. This was about accountability. Tensions rose as the lawsuit neared. Evelyn's rule had always sparked grumbles, but now stories poured out. Fines for wrong, paint shades, threats over kids' toys, even a ban on holiday lights. She'd built a fiefdom, and the ambulance incident was its collapse. One night, neighbors met to petition her removal from the HOA. Fear of her wrath lingered, but anger won out. I signed, my pulse quick. By dawn, we had 120 names. The HOA meeting was electric. The community hall overflowed, air thick with anticipation. Evelyn sat up front, her blouse crisp, her face a mask. Rachel tried routine business, but shouts demanded focus on the lawsuit. What about Walter? Someone yelled. Rachel opened the floor, and residents unleashed years of frustration. One woman described Evelyn's fines driving her to tears. A man recalled her threatening his dog. Each story peeled back her control. Rachel faced Evelyn. Did you assault the EMT? She asked. Evelyn sneered. He had no clearance. I was enforcing order. The room roared. It was an emergency, a woman shouted. Rachel cited state law emergencies trump bylaws. Evelyn's eyes flashed. Let one ambulance in, and it's chaos strikes, strangers ruin. Her logic was lunacy, and the crowd knew it. Rachel called for a vote to remove her. Evelyn stood, slamming the table. You can't. I built this place. Her voice shook rage, fear both. Rachel read the bylaws. Misconduct justified removal. The vote was swift 6-1. Evelyn was out. She froze, eyes darting, then grabbed her purse. You'll all pay, she spat, storming out. Silence fell, relief tinged with dread. We'd won, but Evelyn wasn't done. Days later, unease grew. Someone saw her photographing houses at night, her silhouette eerie. A neighbor found a note. Watch yourself. My car's tire was slashed one morning, no proof, but I knew. I reported it, but police needed EVY Denke. The lawsuit pressed on, Caleb's team armed with VY Deo, witnesses, and Walter's records. Evelyn's lawyer claimed self-defense, but it was weak. The DA also investigated her for assault, doubling her troubles. One night, a crash woke me. My front window was shattered, glass everywhere, a rock inside with a note, back off. My hands trembled as I called police. Rachel, now president, started a neighborhood watch, but fear lingered. She's cornered, Rachel said. That's when she's dangerous. The trial hit like a storm. News called it the HOA heart attack case. Caleb spoke on TV, calm but firm. I save lives. She tried to stop me. Support surged. The trial lasted 4 days. I testified, Relly VYing Evelyn's grab, Walter's wheezes. Her lawyer grilled me, but I held firm. Jenna's VY Deo played undeniable. Evelyn claimed she stood her ground, but the jury saw through it. The verdict came fast, guilty. The judge awarded Caleb Dula $3 million, punitive damages included. Evelyn sat stone still, pale. Reporters mobbed the courthouse, but she vanished. That night, a MOVYing truck appeared at her house. By morning, she was gone, a for sale sign on her lawn. Whispers said she'd fled to dodge payment, maybe to reinvent herself elsewhere. Crestwood Pines exhaled. Rachel's HOA brought calm. Rules eased less about control, more about community. We added park benches, better gate access, a fund for seniors like Walter. Neighbors bonded, the ordeal a strange glue. I saw Caleb once, his arm healed, his grin back. Thanks for stepping up, he said. I nodded, proud we'd fought. Walter recovered, back on his swing, while VYing again. One evening, he caught me passing. Almost lost this, he said, gesturing to the sunset. But you all brought it back. I smiled, the weight gone. Crestwood Pines bore scars, but it was ours again. Evelyn's name faded to a cautionary tale. Power unchecked can break anything, but together, we'd rebuilt what she'd tried to destroy. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.